So when did I first get involved with motorcycles? At a really young age. My mother was divorced early, so I spent a lot of time with my aunt and my cousin. She watched myself and my cousin, and her in-laws, they rode Harleys. She rode her own bike in the 50s and 60s, and they would come over, and it was really, I just never forget that, you know. And at that time, people dressed the part a lot different than they dress today, you know. They wore the caps and the breeches, as they called them. So that was kind of cool, and I never forgot that. And then when I got older, I had a friend that lived down the street, and his dad was a pawnbroker. And I guess he must have had a bike on hock, and he had it in his garage. So we'd hang out, and this big motorcycle would be sitting in the garage, and we would sit on it. And so I don't know, at that point, I really don't know what it was. I know it was a Harley, but I don't know if it was a panhead or a shovelhead. I just know, to me, it just looked huge. Again, I was just enthralled with motorcycles. As I got older, it was one of the first things that I wanted when I was old enough to achieve was a Harley-Davidson. So that's where that passion comes from, just as a kid. So how did I get started with Harley? So in the late 80s, I had moved from Florida to North Carolina, and I didn't know anybody. And I just knew that at the Harley dealers, you could always meet people. So at the time, I had a 1965 Electra Glide. First year, last year Panhead, first year Electra Glide. It was a beautiful motorcycle. And I drove up to the Harley shop, and there's a little tiny store in this little town in Gastonia, North Carolina. And as I pulled in to the drive there was a guy standing out there, and the first thing he walked up and said, "Hey, my name's Click, sell me your Panhead." And I didn't sell it to him then, but him and I became best friends, and he did eventually wind up with that motorcycle. But he gave me my start as working in a dealership, and I just took it and ran with it. And you know, unfortunately, he's no longer with us, but man, I miss that guy. But it was a lot of fun, and that's how I got started. I started in North Carolina. So the latest news from Harley is pretty exciting right now. I mean, it's all over the internet, social media. There's some pretty exciting things coming. I mean, we've known about as they're calling it, the EV, electric vehicle. We saw a version called the Livewire a few years back. It kind of got shelved, but now it's back on, and we saw some video. You've seen some pictures online, and that in itself is exciting to see that. And then a pretty wide variety of motorcycles are coming. That dual sport adventure bike out there, and then the Street Fighter. I mean, it's some pretty exciting times. I think it's something that we needed. We need something to go after that younger group of people. So it's great. It's exciting for a dealer to be a dealer right now, to see all that coming. I can't wait for it. So my vision for Tampa Harley Davidson, this store is the flagship store for HD Florida. It's the very first dealership that they purchased back in '96. I see a lot of good things, positive things that I can't even tell you right now that I know that are coming for this dealership. As taking over here as the GM, this store has a great staff here. I'm honored to come in here and work with these people. As I had observed them for over the last 6 or 7 months, and I was doing other things for this group, I would come in here, and I really couldn't think of a better place to be right here. I have a great vision for this store going forward for the future. What do I ride? Well, the newest bike I have is a 2014 Limited. The oldest bike I have is a 1937 Knucklehead. And I have a few other bikes in between there, and I ride them all. They all run, and I ride them all. So it depends on where I'm going and what I'm doing. My travel motorcycle is my Limited. I've been all over the country with that motorcycle. My 37, my Pan, my Indian, they're just more 100-mile radius maybe. I want to make sure I get back home, but that's what I ride today. When I'm not working, I like to ride if I have that opportunity, and as of right now, it's hot and it's raining and we haven't had much opportunity. So I always look forward to the Florida fall when the weather turns a little bit and it stays constant. We have an opportunity to ride. So I like to ride. If I'm not riding, I'm watching something on TV with cars or motorcycles. I'm a fanatic. I love antiques. That's one of my big passions. I love to work in my yard. I work in my yard a lot. Thank you. So come and see me at Tampa Harley Davidson and our team.